Hello and welcome to another interesting episode. No bees, no food. Why bees are important? Why do we need bees? Because in a world of noise, they hum with purpose. They don't just live, they orchestrate. They map entire fields by memory, navigating by the sun, weaving invisible lines from blossom to blossom. Not for glory, not for the applause, for the hive, for the queen, for the rhythm of life. Why bees? Because they hold up the world with their bodies, not with strength, but with connection. Because an apple isn't born from a tree alone, but with a kiss of the bee's dusty feet. Why bees? Because to save them is to save ourselves. Because their buzzing is not just a sound, it's a signal. A soft, urgent murmur at the edge of collapse. Because when they go quiet, the earth forgets how to eat. Without bees, crop yields would shrink dramatically, leading to food shortages and higher prices. So, no bees, no food. Bees help in sustaining ecosystems by supporting the reproduction of plants that provide habitats and food for other wildlife. Globally, the value of pollination by bees is estimated to be hundreds of billions of dollars annually. But what's happening now? Bee populations are declining worldwide steeply, including both wild bees and managed honeybee colonies. The major causes of bee decline is pesticides, especially neonicotinoids, which harm bees' nervous systems. The second is habitat loss. Urbanization, deforestation, and monoculture farming reduce flowers and nesting areas. The third is, of course, the climate change, which alters the flowering times, weather patterns, and bee behavior. The fourth, and also the important one, is the disease and parasites, the Varroa destructor mite, bacterial and fungal infections. And the fifth one, which cannot be ignored, is the pollution. Air and water pollution affect the bee health and navigation severely. The last, and might also be the least, is the invasive species, which is competing with the native bees for resources, and hence a lot of bees are lost, which I think is part of the nature cycle. Why should we even save bees? Because bees offer food security. Many of the fruits, nuts, vegetable cultivation depend on bees. Ecological balance is also depending on these bees because bees maintain plant diversity and help other organisms survive. And economic importance. Farmers and food industries heavily rely on bee pollination. And of course, the cultural and medicinal value. Bees have been part of the traditional healing and rituals for ages. What can we do to help the bee population increase? Yes, plant bee-friendly gardens. That could be growing native wildflowers, herbs and flowering vegetables, and choosing those plants that bloom in different seasons for year-round nectar. Mostly, marigolds are known to help populate bees. Avoid harmful pesticides. Using natural pest control or choosing bee-safe products or spraying pesticides, if absolutely necessary, only in the evening time when the bees are inactive. Another way to create bee habitat is to provide nesting sites using bee hotels, logs, or bare soil, supporting local beekeepers by buying organic honey, beeswax products, or local produce, or supporting those sustainable farming practices that protect pollinators. Do you know that there are many crops in India that are reliant on bee pollination? The major and the most important one is mango, apple and guava, and many citrus fruits. Pomegranate and papaya are also partially pollinated by these insects. And vegetables, all the cucurbits, brinjal, tomato, capsicum, okra are also pollinated by bees. And the oil seeds like mustard, sunflower, and sesame also depend on bee pollination. When coming to pulses, clover, beans, and spices like coriander, cumin, fennel, and medicinal herbs like tulsi, lemongrass, and aloe vera sometimes are also benefiting from this pollination. Bees are very prominent in Indian agriculture, especially for mustard and cucurbits. Apple productivity in the Himalayas relies heavily on managed pollination services. With India's decline in wild pollinator populations, managed beekeeping, which is called apiculture, is being promoted under various government schemes like National Beekeeping and Honey Mission, Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, economic contribution of the pollination. Pollinator-dependent crops cover 50 million hectares in India, and only 1.2 million bee colonies currently exist versus 150 million needed. In 2012 and 13, the total value of insect-pollinated crops was 4.23 lakh crores, and direct economic contribution of pollinators, especially bees, was 1.13 lakh crores. that is 8.7% of agricultural output. Bee pollination adds healthy yield boost that is 30 to 200% across many key crops. Bees nesting in ducts, balconies and facades in the high-rise buildings can freak out residents and pose sting hazards. However, do you know that there are safe and alternative methods to relocate the hives without exterminating? There are many high-rises in Bengaluru which have adopted these practices and safely moved the hives. Why does it matter? Because of the agricultural and ecological value that these bees bring in. They are essential pollinators for our food crops and urban greenery. Mass extermination disrupts our biodiversity, and urban areas also rely on pollinators. Before you complain next time that you haven't been able to grow vegetables in your little balcony garden, remember there might have been a beehive destruction in your neighborhood, hence there are no pollinators around. By choosing ethical removal, prevention, habitat provision, urban communities can protect both bees and residents, fostering harmony between people and pollinators. Every small step matters. Planting a flowering plot, starting a school bee project, or supporting eco-friendly products can help bees thrive. Bees are small but mighty. Their survival is directly connected to our food systems, economy, and ecosystems. The alarming decline in their population is a wake-up call. We must act now by creating a bee-friendly world through education, gardening, sustainable choices, and policy changes. Save the bees, and we can save ourselves. Bees represent hard work, community, harmony with nature. They have provided us with food and materials for thousands of years. The complex societies, dance like the Wangal dance, and roles like worker, drone, queen are fascinating. Do you know that scientists do study bees? Their behavioral science, bee navigation, memory and communication are studied in neuroscience and robotics. Environmental health scientists study bees acting as indicators of ecosystem health. Genetics and evolution scientists study bees to study their social structures and genetics, helping us to understand the evolution and cooperation. With every hive torn down, we dismantle a fragile thread in our nature's web, one stingless death at a time. Mercilessly exterminating bees is not pest control, but it's ecological suicide. We spray smoke and destroy, forgetting that in every fallen hive lies a piece of our own survival. In the name of comfort, we silence the hum of life. Bees vanish, not with a roar, but with a whisper, and with them, the flowers, the fruit, and our food. For more such informative videos about sustainability, do follow Go Greenism. Like, share, and subscribe our channel. We'll be back with another interesting video next week. Until then, go green. Thank you.